I'm Sean, this is Alissa, Gus is upstairs, and this is Internet Rabbit Hole Daily. And we are back and reacting to another video about the farmer situation in India. Now, as you guys know, I've been following this fairly closely. At least I've been checking out a lot of the content that you've been sending my way. But Alyssa's been really busy working on her album, learning Ableton Live and all that's associated with that. So she's going to sit in with me today, and we're going to check out a video from early October called The Truth of the Farm Bill.
So we are doing a new one because I thought that you were going to show me some other things to kind of fill me in.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that this is going to be like the big overview for you.
Oh, okay. I've seen like a little bit and we've talked a little bit about it, but I don't know. I haven't gotten a chance to really fully delve into the situation. So hopefully this video provides some clarity for me.
I think it will. Now, you guys know that I've already done some reactions to some other videos by some other content creators like Akash Banerjee, Dhruv Rathi. I did a reaction to Scoop Whoop and their sort of man on the ground sort of thing. Now, you guys had suggested for me to check this out sooner, but I got so busy with those other videos, I haven't had a chance to check this one out. So I thought this was a perfect opportunity since Alyssa's going to be hanging out with me today. So
perfect. So let's get into it.
Yeah, this is Indian Agriculture by Abhi and Niyu. That's their channel, I believe. And it's Farm Bills 2020 Explained. Why are the farmers protesting?
Protest क्यों करें? Farm bills, right or wrong? ये MSP क्या है? Farm bills के बारे में काफी ज्यादा confusion है. गवर्नमेंट कहती है कि ये बिल्स किसानों की जिंदगी बदल देंगे, लेकिन फिर भी farmers are protesting.
Oh my gosh, they're laying on the train track.
में हमने अलग-अलग स्टेट्स के फार्मर्स, एग्रीकल्चर स्टूडेंट्स और इंडस्ट्री एक्सपर्ट से बात की. एक्चुअल में बिल्स के ड्राफ्ट्स पढ़े, आसान से लैंग्वेज में ये सिंपल वीडियो बनाया with some easy to understand examples.
We like easy to understand.
कि अगर आप इन 3 एग्जांपल्स को समझ पाए तो आप इन 3 बिल्स के बारे में और भारत के फार्मर्स की सिचुएशन के बारे में क्लियरली फिर आप खुद डिसाइड कीजिए कि क्या सही है और क्या नहीं. स्पॉइलर अलर्ट, अगर आपने आपके पॉलिटिकल इंटरेस्ट के हिसाब से पहले ही डिसाइड कर लिया है कि ये सही है या नहीं, देन दिस वीडियो फॉर यू.
क्योंकि असली सच बेस्ट केस सिनेरियो और वर्स्ट केस सिनेरियो के बीच कहीं होता है और वहां तक सिर्फ कुछ ही सेंसिबल लोग पहुंच पाते हैं.
तो अगर आपको ये वीडियो समझ आता है, ये इशू इंपॉर्टेंट लगता है, तो प्लीज इस वीडियो को आपके फ्रेंड्स के साथ शेयर कीजिए.
इंडिया के इंपॉर्टेंट इश्यूज आप तक पहुंचाना हमारा मिशन है. हमें सपोर्ट करने
के लिए हमारे so guys, make sure to support their channel
और इस बेल आइकन को प्रेस कीजिए.
सबसे पहली बात, किसान गरीब क्यों? क्योंकि हमारे किसान प्राइस टेकर्स हैं. इनपुट्स यानी सीड्स, फर्टिलाइजर्स, पेस्टिसाइड्स फार्मर्स रिटेल प्राइस पर खरीदते हैं और अपना प्रोड्यूस होलसेल प्राइस पर बेचते हैं. और इन दोनों जगह किसान प्राइस मेकर्स नहीं, प्राइस टेकर्स.
I never even thought about that actually.
70%
It's going really fast because we have to read that. They're the price takers, not the price makers. Just simplify that for my dumb brain.
I think what they're saying is just that these farmers are sort of subjective to the system, and it's a system that's already sort of unfair, where they're paying,
take whatever price
where basically they don't have control over the pricing around the seeds and some of the equipment around that, and at least that's the sense I'm getting.
And then when they sell it wholesale, what do they even mean by that?
Wholesale means like cheap, basically. Like, you know, you go to one of those
like
big stores like Costco. You sort of buy more, it costs less kind of thing.
Okay.
And so this is interesting here because they're talking about how Indian farmers have, most of them have less than 2.5 acres of land. Now, here in the West, here in Canada, we're used to farmers having like huge fields, lots of acres.
I don't even know roughly how many, like the average farmer in Canada, how many acres they would have. Do you know?
I don't know the average, but I've been told
it's way more than 2.5.
Yeah, I've been told by several people that basically it's quite different over there versus the way we have it. But anyways, let's see what this guy has to say.
छोटे किसान, छोटा लैंड यानी कम फसल यानी कम बार्गेनिंग पावर.
आफ्टर 1947 जमींदारी सिस्टम अबॉलिश हुआ और फार्म लैंड छोटे-छोटे हिस्सों में बढ़ गया. मजदूर उन छोटे-छोटे फार्मलैंड्स के मालिक बन गए, लेकिन उनके पास बार्गेनिंग पावर नहीं थी और ट्रेडर्स इसी चीज का फायदा लेते थे. पहले उन्हें लोन देते थे और हार्वेस्ट सीजन के बाद उनसे कम दामों में वही फसल वापस लेते थे. किसान गरीब रहता था क्योंकि उसे अपनी फसल का सही दाम नहीं
He was at the mercy of the buyer.
ये कौन डिसाइड करेगा? इसलिए 1960s में जब पूरे देश में ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन हो रहा था, तब आ गए APMCs यानी मंडीज, जिन्होंने फार्म प्रोड्यूस को रेगुलेट करना स्टार्ट किया. उन्होंने कहा आपसे प्रोड्यूस हम लेंगे, बाकी कोई भी आपसे डायरेक्टली खरीद नहीं पाएगा. और हम ट्रेडर्स को एक लाइसेंस और एक जगह देंगे जहां पे वो ट्रेड कर पाए.
The way I see it, it was like farmers, they were, and I don't know, once again, guys, I don't know anything. I'm just sort of making this up as I go here. But what I think I'm hearing is that we had a bunch of disenfranchised farmers who were sort of being ripped off. So they banded together. They sort of formed their own union so that they could have, because they were all these little spread out farms. And so maybe a little bit of power to each person. But if everybody banded together, that was a lot of power. And so that's as I'm seeing it. But you guys will let me know if I'm getting that wrong.
Yeah, because if they're also having these tiny little like crops, it's just like, oh, we're all just trying to do
everything
crops.
on our own.
Like,
why not?
You think they would sort of
it's like a collaboration.
Yeah, something like that.
आइडिया तो अच्छा है क्योंकि पहले वाले सिस्टम से मंडी
better for the farmers.
मंडी में अलग अलग ट्रेडर्स होते हैं जो फार्मर के साथ नेगोशिएट करते हैं और फिर रेट डिसाइड करते हैं. कोई 20 पर, कोई 22 पर, कोई 25 पर. फार्मर्स को ऑप्शंस मिलते हैं.
तो चलो आज एक ऐसे ही मंडी में चलते हैं. ये एक टिपिकल मंडी है जहां पर प्राइस नेगोशिएशन डिसाइड हो रहा है. क्या आप गेस कर सकते हैं कि इन सारे लोगों में से किसान कौन है? एक बार देख लीजिए.
Is it almost like an auction style type of thing?
It's sort of an agricultural market as I understand it. And so within the Mandi, there's certain regulations around the buying and selling of products. And as I understand it, it's basically designed in a way so that both the farmer and the seller get a fair price. So let's sort of see here, because I know there's more to the story.
Is this just they're negotiating now? Like the seller, the farmer's negotiating with the buyers.
Yeah, they're all hanging out, selling and buying and stuff like that. As far as I can tell.
But this is them selling like wholesale, like to big departments, right? It's not like there's individual.
No,
people.
Yeah. I think it's like more of a wholesale kind of operation.
Businesses, basically.
That's as I understand it.
Okay, this keeps bumping. Can you hear that?
No.
कोई भी नहीं, क्योंकि प्राइस किसान कहाँ डिसाइड करता है? प्राइस तो ट्रेडर्स डिसाइड करते हैं. किसान आज भी मंडी में प्राइस ट्रेडर्स ने सोचा कि हे क्यों ना हम सब लोग एक ही प्राइस. तो आज का प्राइस है 22 रुपए. सब लोग सेम प्राइस बता रहे हैं, तो किसान एक प्राइस टेकर ही बन गया. दिस मंडी सिस्टम इज नॉट परफेक्ट. पूरे भारत में कुछ 7,000.
And that's what I've heard is basically that unfortunately, as with any good system, there's people that are going to be trying to exploit it. And so the sellers maybe realize that if they sort of band it together,
and they're like, we're not going
to buy it for less than or whatever. That's the sense I'm getting. So it's an imperfect system. I don't think anybody here is saying, you know, it's perfect. Everything, you know, nothing needs to be improved on. No, I don't think anyone's saying that. But just because something isn't, perfect doesn't mean you have to scrap it entirely. So, and with 7,000 mandis all over India, it's like, you know, it's no small thing to get rid of that.
It's harder being in the position of the seller versus buyer, just in general, because like you have to sell that, like that's your livelihood. That means like,
and if you don't sell it, you go hungry.
And so, and then if you're buying, I guess you have to like stock your stores and stuff too, but then you could just go to other sellers too. It's like, oh, if this guy's not going to budge and he's going to sell for, I can get it way cheaper. Like they kind of have more options.
Well, you know, I think
to be in that position, it's almost like a defense and like an offense position. If you look at it as like a sport almost.
मंडीज है. मेघालय के स्टेट में 11,000 किलोमीटर के लिए सिर्फ एक मंडी.
नेशनल फार्मर्स कमीशन ने कहा था कि मंडी सिस्टम सक्सेसफुल होने के लिए हर 5 किलोमीटर में एक मंडी होना जरूरी है.
As a result, भारत के टोटल प्रोड्यूस में से 40% से भी कम प्रोड्यूस मंडीज में.
Oh, let me read that. So it says the large person outside the regulated market spaces. Okay, so, and this is the other thing that I've heard as well too, is that maybe there's a perception that all of the trading is taking place within these mandis, but there's a lot of trade that's going on without it. And it's just sort of, as I see it anyways, it's providing more options for the farmers and sellers.
The trade going on outside of these mandis, they're not really having the same sort of issue.
I don't think they
have
the
buyers like banning, like, you know, not having as much control.
I'm not really sure, but as far as I'm concerned, usually more choice is a better thing, but I guess we'll see here.
फार्मर्स तो मंडी तक का ट्रांसपोर्ट भी अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते. ये फार्मर्स अपने ही विलेज में अनलाइसेंस्ड ट्रेडर्स को अपना प्रोड्यूस बेचते हैं. वो जो प्राइस बोले उस प्राइस पे. एज अ रिजल्ट आज 4 में से 3 फार्मर्स फार्मिंग छोड़ने की सोच रहे हैं, क्योंकि एक मार्केट में एक अच्छे बायर की जरूरत है जो किसान को एक सही दाम दे.
अब बात करते हैं रिफॉर्म्स के बारे में. फार्म बिल्स यानी कि 3 बिल्स हैं. चलो इन 3 बिल्स के कॉन्सेप्ट्स हम 3 एग्जांपल्स के साथ समझते हैं.
Number 1.
So just to let you know, this is basically this is what people are protesting against is these
the
3 bills.
Yeah. gathered.
Yeah.
That's what it would be about.
Well, no, I know, but it's, just to put a point on it here.
Tomatoes for burgers. McDonald's सीधा farmers के साथ एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट कर सकती है। हमें हमारे बर्गर्स के लिए इस साइज के टमेटोज लगते हैं, तो आप इस साइज के टमेटोज ग्रो करो और हर साल हम आपसे 1000 टन टमेटोज खरीदेंगे। इसे कहते हैं कॉन्ट्रैक्ट फार्मिंग।
कॉन्ट्रैक्ट फार्मिंग का फायदा यही है कि प्राइस पहले से डिसाइड होती है। कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करने के टाइम अगर प्राइस डिसाइड हुई 20 रुपीज और टमाटोज रेडी होते होते मार्केट प्राइस हो गई 10 रुपीज, फिर भी कंपनी को 20 रुपीज में टमाटोज खरीदने पड़ेंगे।
Wait, so it's not fixed? They said if the prices drop, then they'll now have to adjust. They were saying it was fixed, and then they were saying
maybe the company,
the market price falls.
Yeah, and then the company sort of gets out of the contract a little bit. Maybe I don't know.
होते होते
I see the market. Maybe it's based on the market price, and if the market price drops, then the farmer who was expecting to get this amount of money,
it's fixed until the market is. But then it's that's not fixed price. Then depends on the market.
Yeah, it fluctuates from the looks of it.
20 rupees में टमाटोज खरीदने पड़ते।
I guess it's the contract they have together. And then the market kind of surpasses that.
I guess so. I guess so. Maybe that's written in. So.
Will only get 20 rupees
even if it rises.
ऐसे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स इस बिल से पहले भी
So it's only in the favor of the buyer?
If it goes lower, we might have to watch that again.
It's just a lot of information.
Yeah, this is when I'm going to make I'm going to make a recommendation to you, Alissa, and that is that you get sort of the gist of it, because I've watched a few of these videos and there's a lot going on here. So even if you just get the general idea, that is a good thing.
I don't retain this. It's it's just going very fast, and I have to read it too. It's different when it's I get, it's not in English, but I could sort of retain it or focus better if I was sort of reading, I don't know, an article or something. And I did do a bit of research. I watched some news things and that, but then Sean was saying oh, that's actually false. They're saying the opposite of what it actually is.
Well, I was saying that the national,
and I was like, oh God, what is the point? Am I ever going to know the truth? So that's where I'm at.
This is what we're doing. We're digging in.
लेकिन मंडी में रजिस्टर होते थे, तो मंडी को इसमें से एक कट मिलता था, एक हिस्सा मिलता था।
जब कंपनीज डायरेक्टली फार्मर्स के साथ डील करते हैं तो मिडिलमैन एलिमिनेट हो जाते हैं और दोनों साइड का फायदा होता है।
कुछ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स में फार्मर्स पैसे एडवांस में ले सकते हैं, तो उन्हें लोन नहीं लेना पड़ता। सुनने में तो अच्छा लगता है, लेकिन कोई भी कंपनी जिसे 1000 टन टमेटोज चाहिए, वो छोटे छोटे फार्मर्स के साथ नेगोशिएट करने में, उनसे डील करने में टाइम वेस्ट नहीं करेगी। तो छोटे फार्मर्स के लिए ये ऐसी अपॉर्चुनिटी है जो उनके पहुंच से बाहर। ओके, तो प्रोटेस्ट क्यों? Because a company is powerful.
उनके पास लीगल टीम होती है कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स वन साइडेड बनाने के लिए, फाइनेंशियल एनालिस्ट होते हैं सही प्राइस डिसाइड करने के लिए, और बाद में किसी कंपनी ने अपने ही कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स को ऑनर नहीं किया तो फिर से फार्मर के एक्सप्लॉइट होने के चांसेस हैं।
लेकिन इसका
the farmer doesn't have the resources generally, I would think, to take on the company, to hire a lawyer, go to court, do all of that stuff.
So maybe they're also talking about how the middleman benefits both, but I think it could also be sort of the negative side to it, because the middleman could maybe it's the mediator. I don't know. Maybe they're probably going to go more and explain that. But they're when you deal directly with because you're not paying someone to sort of do the
facilitate
business. It's almost like paying an agent or something, or someone to manage this stuff. It's but then you could get screwed over, because then it's just you.
So he's sort of saying there's plus and minuses, and in fact, when you look at it at first glance, you might say, oh, well, that sounds like a really good deal. But then when you sort of dig deeper as he's doing, you realize actually this isn't a great deal for the farmers, at least from what he's saying here.
Yeah.
यहाँ एक इंटरमीडिएरी बॉडी की जरूरत है जो फार्मर्स को प्रोटेक्ट, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स बने और असली टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस फार्मर्स को समझाए। फार्मर्स को धीरे-धीरे अच्छे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स क्या होते हैं ये पढ़ना सीखना पड़ेगा।
डिस्प्यूट रिड्रेसल सिस्टम जो बिल में दिया है वो प्रैक्टिकल नहीं है। सब मैजिस्ट्रेट के पास और भी रिस्पांसिबिलिटीज होती हैं। ऐसे केस में फार्मर के इशू पर ध्यान देना डिफिकल्ट होगा।
नंबर 2, अनियंस मेक भारत क्राई। अनियन एक कमाल की चीज है। कभी कभी अनियन प्राइसेस 100 रुपए भी क्रॉस कर जाते हैं, और कभी हम ऐसे वीडियोस देखते हैं जब कोई किसान अपने अनियंस
Look at that poor guy. Look at that poor man.
ये दोनों तरफा
he can't make ends. He's not even leveling out at
no,
zero.
He's not even
he's
breaking
not making
even.
a profit.
No, and
breaking even.
As I understand, no, I don't know that particular gentleman or his particular story, but I do know this, and I heard this from the last video. It was something like between 30 to 40 farmers a day commit suicide in India.
30 to 40
a day. Yeah, it sort of brings chills to the body, you know, just thinking about that. It's
like, say you want to try to get out of that, you'd have to like sell your farm, which is
and no one wants to buy farms because
if people are
70% farmers don't even want to.
If people are leaving that profession, then how are you? Yeah, you literally have to, or you're like forced to keep trying to do that, and then they're getting so taken advantage of because the people still got the food, a cheap price, and then this guy can't even put food on his own table or something.
Exactly.
इसलिए है क्योंकि ट्रेडर्स ज्यादा स्टॉक होने पर अनियंस को फ्यूचर के लिए स्टोर नहीं कर सकते।
देखिए, अनियन एक एसेंशियल कमोडिटी है,
shelf life is what they're saying.
ये लिमिट्स क्रॉस करने पर आपको जेल हो सकती है।
Wait, you can go to jail if you cross which limits?
I don't know. With limits on stocking, you can't hoard, I guess, is what they're saying.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on here, Alyssa.
क्रॉस करने पर आपको जेल हो सकती है। तो गवर्नमेंट ऐसे एसेंशियल कमोडिटीज की लिस्ट बनाती है। कोविड के टाइम पर मास्क, हैंड सैनिटाइजर जैसी चीजों को भी एसेंशियल आइटम्स माना गया था और उनके होर्डिंग और प्राइस को रेगुलेट किया गया।
ये लिमिट कंप्लीटली वैलिड था क्योंकि उस टाइम पे सप्लाई बहुत कम था और डिमांड अचानक से बहुत ज्यादा।
एक जमाना ऐसा हुआ करता था कि हमारे पास खाना ही नहीं था। यूएस से व्हीट आता था और सीधा रेशन की दुकान जाता था।
Wow,
अगर कोई खाना होर्ड
they sent wheat from the States to India. Now that I did not know.
In India?
Or didn't maybe have the capacity yet or something. I'm not sure.
तो एक आर्टिफिशियल स्कैरसिटी होने के चांसेस थे। लेकिन आज भारत में एक दूसरा ही क्राइसिस है, फूड सरप्लस क्राइसिस।
फूड कॉर्पोरेशन ऑफ इंडिया हैज बफर स्टॉक्स। जरूरत से ज्यादा खाना है, गोडाउन में पड़ा है 30 lakh tons of sugar, 221 lakh tons of rice.
So they are hoarding. They have too
much food
product now.
What I've actually heard is that farmers in the West will actually do this: is they'll let entire crops basically rot to drive up the price of whatever commodity it is that they're selling.
Oh, it's like a strategy.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to have, because
there's too much wheat. So if you had less wheat, it would cost more.
The more you have, the cheaper it is. Yeah.
What do I know,
Supply
guys?
and demand.
I don't know any of this. I'm making it up.
I took one economics course.
Don't listen to me.
In university. And I hardly know anything still though. But
28 lakh tons of wheat.
आज सिचुएशन उल्टी है, लेकिन फिर भी लोग भूखे हैं बिकॉज फूड इज मिसमैनेज्ड। कोल्ड स्टोरेज और वेयर हाउसेस में कोई भी ट्रेडर या कोई प्राइवेट कंपनी इन्वेस्ट ही क्यों करे जब कई सारी चीजें स्टोर करना ही इलीगल है। इस वजह से हमारे देश में कुछ इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर की कमी है और ये सिचुएशन बदलने की जरूरत है। उसके लिए स्टोरेज करने के लिए कुछ इंसेंटिव्स देने की जरूरत है।
इस अमेंडमेंट ने इन सारी चीजों का स्टॉकिंग लिमिट हटा दिया है। अगर हॉर्टिकल्चर आइटम्स में प्राइस डबल हुआ और फूड ग्रेन्स में 1.5 गुना, तो ये स्टॉक लिमिट्स वापस आ जाएंगे।
तो प्रोटेस्ट क्यों? क्योंकि होर्डिंग अभी भी एक लेजिटिमेट कंसर्न है। फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अनियन हार्वेस्ट सीजन में कोई भी ट्रेडर ज्यादा अनियन खरीदेगा क्योंकि सप्लाई अच्छा है, उसे स्टोर करेगा और तभी बेचेगा, तभी बाहर निकालेगा जब प्राइसेस ऑलरेडी बढ़ चुके हैं। नंबर 3, ये एप्पल कहीं भी बिकेगा। आज के सिचुएशन में हिमाचल का एक ऐसा फार्मर जो एप्पल्स ग्रो करता है, वो खुद महाराष्ट्र में आकर उसके एप्पल्स नहीं बेच सकते। इस बिल की वजह से देश के हर फार्मर को देश
Okay, wait. So
this is a positive aspect of the bill is what he's saying.
They can sell anywhere in India.
Yeah. Now this is what I've also heard from watching the Dhruv Rathi video is the fellow on there was saying that actually they already can sell outside the Mandi. So I'm not so sure what that means.
Are they trying to pass these bills? I know
they've already been
I know I was being
through,
like snarky at the beginning. I'm like, oh, I know it's about these bills and stuff. But so they have these bills in place already.
Yes, as I understand. And now the protest is against
jeopardizing.
These bills.
They want to remove these bills that were passed. It's always weird in general, I think, when it took time and efforts to like, why were the bills even put there in the first place? Like it's usually you don't reverse that. Usually when you pass a bill, it kind of stays unless it's like really messing things up.
What I heard basically was that these bills were sort of passed through in the dead of night in sort of a nefarious way where there really wasn't those checks and balances. There wasn't sort of the transparency. And so I'd like to see a video more so on that aspect of it, but that's what I've heard.
But okay, wait. So there's negative sides to these bills and then positive sides. So they're just wanting like a reform of these bills, or they don't want to keep the exact.
I think the farmers would like to sort of scrap them in general and maybe start fresh.
Reform
but
them,
let's see here.
Okay.
पर भी जाकर अपना प्रोड्यूस बेचने की परमिशन मिलती है,
लेकिन दूसरे मंडीज में नहीं, क्योंकि मंडी स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के कंट्रोल में आती है। मंडी में दूसरे स्टेट के फार्मर्स बेच सकते हैं या नहीं, इसका डिसीजन स्टेट गवर्नमेंट लेगी।
एक्चुअली वन नेशन वन मार्केट की आइडिया खुद कांग्रेस के 2019 के मैनिफेस्टो में थी, तो लॉजिकली स्पीकिंग इस एक्ट से उन्हें उनके एलाइज को कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं होनी चाहिए। तो प्रोटेस्ट क्यों? मंडी में फार्मर्स को टैक्स लगता है जो बाहर बेचने पर नहीं लगे, तो नेचुरली कॉर्पोरेट्स को और फार्मर्स को दोनों को मंडी के बाहर ट्रेड
It would make the mandies basically irrelevant if there wasn't basically, as I'm hearing it, and I'm once again could be totally wrong, you pay taxes in the mandi but you don't pay those same taxes outside of the mandi, which sort of gives a incentive to do trade in these less regulated environments, which I think maybe what he's saying is not going to turn out well for the farmers. But I don't know.
They just don't want any taxes anywhere.
I think it's I'm not sure. I think they're okay with the taxes at present in the mandi system, or maybe they aren't. But the fact that the government isn't having taxes for sales that happen outside of it, I think is the concern. Once again, probably getting this all wrong, but
इसकी वजह से मंडीज का इंपॉर्टेंस और स्टेट्स को उनसे मिलने वाला टैक्स इन फ्यूचर कम होने के चांसेस हैं।
नया लॉ किसी भी पैन कार्ड होल्डर को ट्रेडर बनने की परमिशन देता है, whereas मंडी में ट्रेडर बनने के लिए कंडीशंस होते हैं। ट्रेडर्स की एक लाइसेंस होती है।
मंडी में बाय लॉ किसानों को एक दिन के अंदर अंदर पेमेंट करना ही पड़ता है, बट अकॉर्डिंग टू दिस न्यू लॉ मंडी के बाहर होने वाले ट्रेड्स को 3 दिन का क्रेडिट मिलता है। See, we have to admit कि इस चीज का मिसयूज होने के चांसेस हैं। ये सारे कंसर्न्स लूप होल की तरह है जिन्हें एड्रेस करना जरूरी है। एक और मेजर कंसर्न है एमएसपी। एमएसपी इज मिनिमम सपोर्ट प्राइस। गवर्नमेंट व्हीट, राइस, पल्सेस जैसे 23 आइटम्स पर एमएसपी डिक्लेयर करती है, लेकिन ये इस बात की गारंटी नहीं होता।
Set prices by the government.
Yeah, so it's
especially if it's like an essential item, they can't because those big corporations can highly influence things. Like, it's not fair if they someone starts selling milk for really, really, really cheap just because they can. And then everyone else is sort of like forced to, then they can't make, you have to provide a way for farmers to make a living. And that's what
sustain
MSP
themselves.
helps
and
with.
And I think, and then the other thing is like, okay, so are all the farmers just using this MSP or what have you? As I understand it, it's a very small percentage of farmers that actually do the MSP thing. But for those farmers who, otherwise might not be able to sell their crop, otherwise might not be able to make ends meet, I think this is a tremendous safety net.
I'm sure the MSP would be, because I think it's called like a floor and a ceiling, and it would be like a floor, like a minimum
price that they would get for the product.
Yeah, not a ceiling. Yeah, and so maybe they aren't even using it because they don't really need to, because they're actually selling it for more than what the MSP is like set to. Maybe so, but then it helps in case something happens, and then it's sort of just like, you're not allowed to sell for any lower than this sort of price, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pacing everything together.
It's almost like, weren't we talking about this? How it's almost like a minimum wage for them?
Yeah, I think it's just sort of a minimum purchase. If all else fails and you can't sell your crop to anybody, you can sell it to the government and we'll buy it for a fair price. That's as I understand it.
No, they're not selling it to the government. It's just the government sort of
buying it from them.
No, they're just telling them this is like companies you can't sell for, and no company or farmer or something can try to sell something for like less than this set price.
That could be true, but it is the government buying from them in this case. So the MSP
it says the government
will buy it from you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess they do buy it.
सारे आइटम्स को हर किसी से खरीदे गई।
गवर्नमेंट सिर्फ कुछ ही आइटम्स जैसे राइस और व्हीट एक्चुअली खरीदती है। पंजाब और हरियाणा जैसे स्टेट्स को इस एमएसपी का ज्यादा फायदा होता है। फार्मर्स को लगता है कि ज्यादा से ज्यादा ट्रेड्स अगर मंडी के बाहर होने लगे तो गवर्नमेंट एमएसपी हटा देगी, और मेजरली सारे प्रोटेस्ट इसी डर के आसपास हैं।
एमएसपी का कॉन्सेप्ट परफेक्ट नहीं है क्योंकि ये फार्मर्स को एक फॉल्स गारंटी देता है।
Okay.
Only 6% of the farmers get MSP prices, क्योंकि ट्रेडर्स एमएसपी पे खरीदते नहीं, और गवर्नमेंट भी हर साल सारी चीजें प्रोक्योर नहीं करती। जिन क्रॉप्स पर एमएसपी डिक्लेयर नहीं होता, उन क्रॉप्स की प्राइस डिस्कवरी का कोई यूनिफॉर्म सिस्टम नहीं है, और फार्मर्स का असली प्रॉब्लम यही है।
तो सॉल्यूशन
so the MSP, it's only in the mandi again? That's what they were saying?
And I think that what the government is saying is like, hey guys, don't freak out. We're not saying that we're going to get rid of the MSP, but I think the farmers are kind of seeing the writing on the wall.
The MSP, is that the tax though? Too? It was like there's only taxes in the mandi.
I think
that's not
I think you're going to have to watch a few more videos there, Alyssa, because we're grasping at the edges here.
प्रोड्यूस की फेयर वैल्यू क्या होनी चाहिए ये फार्मर्स को पता ही नहीं होता। सारे एक्सप्लॉयटेशन का बेस तो यही है, भले वो मंडी के ट्रेडर्स से हो या कॉन्ट्रैक्ट फार्मिंग की वजह से। सही प्राइस क्या है किसे पता होता है? प्राइसेस तो एरिया वाइज बदलते रहते, तो प्राइस डिस्कवरी कैसे कर सकते हैं?
आज आप एक स्टॉक एक्सचेंज में जाके इन्फोसिस की शेयर प्राइस तुरंत देख सकते हैं। ये प्राइस सभी को दिखती है और सारे शेयर्स इसी प्राइस पर बिकते हैं। टोटल ट्रांसपेरेंसी। आज इंडिया में कमोडिटी डेरिवेटिव्स की ट्रेडिंग होती है। NCDEX और MCX ये दो एक्सचेंजेस हैं। यहाँ पर काफी सारे एग्रीकल्चरल कमोडिटीज के फ्यूचर्स मार्केट प्राइसेस दिखते हैं। फार्मर्स इन प्राइसेस को बेस रख के अपने प्राइसेस डिसाइड
okay, it's like a reference point of like how much should I be selling this?
But they are very much driven by the market. Like you can't, you're sort of beholden to that to an extent. So this is interesting.
If you go too high, no one's going to buy from you. If you go too low, then you're losing out. So
फार्मर्स का यूनाइटेड ना होना उनकी बार्गेनिंग पावर खत्म कर देता है। अगर गवर्नमेंट असल में ये चाहती है कि
So they're not united. I thought you said they were in like a union or
They
something.
are the Kisan Union.
Okay, what did he say that they're not united though?
I don't know. Let's
And
just
this kills their bargaining power.
let's let them say
The
his
union
thing.
only goes so far, I guess. I got ideas.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
You've been doing like
I know,
all this
I know,
videos
I know.
and like just let Alyssa's brain just pick at this. for
All
a
right.
second,
Okay. We'll let it sort of sink in here.
ना होना उनकी बार्गेनिंग पावर खत्म कर देता है। अगर गवर्नमेंट असल में ये चाहती है कि फार्मर्स का कुछ भला हो, तो उनको फार्मर्स को यूनाइट करने की कोशिश करनी चाहिए।
NECC इंडिया का एक कोऑपरेटिव है जो एग्स के लिए एक इंडिकेटिव प्राइस देता है, जो फार्मर्स के लिए भी फेयर और रेम्यूनरेटिव हो और जो कंज्यूमर्स के लिए बहुत एक्सपेंसिव ना हो। इसीलिए एग्स की रिटेल प्राइस दो एरियाज में अराउंड द सेम रहती है। लेकिन NECC जैसे कोऑपरेटिव्स के लिए फार्मर्स का ज्वाइन होना जरूरी है।
It's almost like it's like the farmers should be joining together to set the market prices.
Yeah. And
Because they're the ones with the products, right?
That's right.
Like, why should these big corporations
I think there might be
dictate or sort of influence, I think the farmers should have a negotiation with the government where it's like, okay, this is a good price because just adding all the details together and then being like, yeah, you can make a decent living as a farmer. Like people can't starve to death doing a necessary job, right? It's
no farmers, no food. That's what people would tell you in the comments.
Exactly. They're the most important.
अगर फार्मर प्रोड्यूसर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बना सकते हैं जहां पर सारे फार्मर्स प्रोड्यूस को पूल कर सकते हैं।
भारत में आज अमूल की इतनी इज्जत है क्योंकि अमूल ने काफी सारे फार्मर्स को एक साथ लाया और उन्हें एक फेयर प्राइस दिया।
इंडिया में FPOs ऑलरेडी हैं जो फार्मर्स को सही प्राइस देने में मदद करती है। FPOs फार्मर्स को एक कलेक्टिव फोर्स बना सकती है। ऐसे FPOs को स्टेट और सेंटर दोनों गवर्नमेंट से फाइनेंशियल और एजुकेशनल सपोर्ट की जरूरत है।
द पॉइंट इज ये बिल्स एक प्रोग्रेसिव स्टेप हो सकते हैं, लेकिन उनमें जो लूप होल्स है उन पर डिस्कशन होना जरूरी है। किसी भी आइडिया का सक्सेस और फेलियर उसकी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन पे होता है। फार्मर्स जिनके फायदे के लिए ये बिल्स है, अगर उन्हें ही ये बिल्स उनका दुश्मन लगे तो इन बिल्स का क्या फायदा?
जब दोनों साइड से चिल्लाया जाता है तो सिर्फ और सिर्फ शोर होता है, फिर दूसरे की क्या खुद की आवाज सुनना भी इम्पॉसिबल हो जाता है। इन द बैटल ऑफ बीइंग द लाउडेस्ट वन इन द हाउस वी फॉरगेट टू हियर व्हाट वी आवरसेल्व्स आर सेइंग।
We're like that when we're yelling at each other.
अपने पॉलिटिकल इंटरेस्ट के हिसाब से इस बिल के अच्छे या बुरे साइड्स को देखते हैं और बाकी साइड्स को भूल जाते हैं। अगर सच में ये बिल्स फार्मर्स की भलाई के लिए तो उनके पॉइंट्स क्या है ये सुनने में
I guess you know what, that's what I'm sort of saying, because people are like, come on man, you're a Canadian, what do you know? You don't understand the language, you don't understand the country, you don't understand the politics. To which I would say, yeah, you're right, I don't understand any of that. But then what's the problem with me trying to find out more information? Is there a danger in that?
Okay,
it seems like
it came up on global news. Like I was chilling on YouTube and it was in my recommends for like our Canadian network because it's something going on in the world
and then
it's a political, it's an economical sort of thing, and it's just something similar could happen in Canada. Just it's not necessarily with farmers, or it's just like it's a system, it's a structure that is worth looking into and investigating too, and just learning from, and also, just.
So here's what it comes down to. So this is what I would say is that for those of you folks out there who are critical, good for you. I mean, it's good to be critical, but where's your links? You know what? Like, I haven't really seen too many videos, or really any at all, that speak to. I'll put it this way: people will say things, but then they don't leave a link. So, if you guys are thinking that I'm getting the wrong information here, that Druv Rathi and this fellow and some of these other folks are feeding me the wrong information, please leave a video for me.
We want to just learn what's actually going on. I usually have an unbiased opinion of almost like every single thing, unless I like know the truth, unless it's like a personal situation to me that I can have an actual opinion on. Honestly, these political issues, I'm always like, well, the farmers feel this way, but the government feel this way, and this might happen, and they don't want this risk, but is it a risk? It could be, could not be. Like, I don't even know. How would I decide? I don't have a biased view. Really. I do and I don't. Like, I don't know, but
I think all of that.
I like farming. I always wanted to be a farmer, okay? Played Farmville, obviously it does not make me relate whatsoever. But I was literally talking to Sean maybe like a couple weeks ago of how I'm just so frustrated that it's like that, I don't know, that it is so, I guess, normal to just like go to the grocery store and buy these foods that weren't, they're just like shipped over from completely different countries. And I'm like, why can't we support local a little bit more too? Like support our local farmers.
There's also issues of capacity and it's just temperature and climate and all that.
Economic things going on. Well, it's farmers.
This is what I see is sort of at the end of the day, we see a bunch of hard-working farmers who've worked on the land for generations, who feel like they've been grievanced, who are now marching on New Delhi. So regardless of the politics and the bills and the this and that, I am very interested in what these farmers have to say. They aren't going to take time out of their very, very busy lives to go on a march for no reason.
There's clearly issues. Like when that guy with the onions and he couldn't even break even. When you can't break even as a business, okay, if it wasn't farming and you were in like a restaurant business and every year you just couldn't break even, your business would get shut down. Inevitably, that's what will happen. There's an issue when this farmer, like, I don't know, I guess sometimes you get to a point too where it's like you can only have so many farmers at a time, and like you need to balance things too. Like if there's competition within that industry or profession or whatever it is, but it's like they're allowed to protest. Like, I don't know, I wouldn't know unless I was one of those farmers. Exactly. Like I wouldn't I would still not know the complete total truth of everything and how everything's going
and they're saying that the farmers have been
but I would know a whole lot more if I was a farmer. So I guess people who have sort of like a strong opinion on the other side in opposition to the farmers, it's sort of like, you could say like the same thing, like as, if you're criticizing someone for supporting the farmers, it's like, well, what do you know? How do you know all the answers too? Like, how do you know?
Yeah, when was the last time you took a shovel into the dirt and did something? I mean, you know what, honestly, when was the last time you picked something from the ground? Probably like never. So, back off, guys. That's what I'd say. We need to hear them out.
नहीं होनी चाहिए। एक अच्छी बात यह है कि एटलीस्ट इस कंट्रोवर्सी की वजह से फार्मर्स के प्रॉब्लम्स क्या
Exactly.
I never knew about this. It's brought to my attention. It's like
इस मौके का फायदा लेते हैं और फार्मर्स के कुछ एक्चुअल प्रॉब्लम्स सॉल्व करते हैं।
Well, share the truth.
I did actually work on a sheep farm one time. Just gonna mention that.
Let's let this run out here.
उसके प्रॉब्लम्स और सॉल्यूशंस पर एक वीडियो सीरीज बनाने वाले हैं। ये वीडियो उस सीरीज का पहला एपिसोड है।
Cool. We hope you guys subscribe to that channel because they're certainly doing some great work, and it's in English, which is like a total double bonus for us.
And their video to me some might call it biased, but they also said there's loopholes in the bills
I would
that
say
are maybe supposed to support the farmers, and then people might take advantage of it. And it's just coming up with something that sort of works
for everybody.
Everyone.
And I think the challenge is Alissa, is that some cold-hearted people might say, well, if the farmer can't support himself, then just let the farm close down.
Yeah, how though? They can't sell it because no one wants to be a farmer because it's freaking brutal.
And for me, there's a lifestyle here. There's a way of life. There's a deeply rooted culture.
Yeah, I desire that way of life and all the time. I just want to live in the nature.
And if they move towards the way we do farming here in the West, that is not a good thing. Now, I don't know, actually, I know kind of more about the States a little bit. As I understand, they pay their farmer subsidies to make everything work. And their farmers are also committing suicide in numbers that is quite shocking.
So you're saying the subsidy.
So I'm saying farmers are getting a bad deal all over the place.
Yeah.
And people in India might say, well, let's just do what the West is doing. And that sounds good, right? The West is doing pretty good. And then there's farmers in the West saying, hey, you guys don't want the system we have. We can't make ends meet and we're getting subsidies from the government. So it is a complicated issue. My hat's off to these folks right here for trying to put things in sort of a succinct way. We're still learning. Like I said, guys, we're just kind of figuring this out as we go.
It's a necessity. It's like one of those occupations where like there's people who fishermen or whatever is part of like a fishery sort of business, and they get, because I think I knew someone that did that, and their job is actually like seasonal. They only fish at a certain time of the year, and then the government gives them EI, which is financial support. Yeah, they get paid all year round because you can't just
not have fish,
so they,
not have grain, not have rice,
so they're supporting them to be so that we have fish like that. Like, so I see it as like a similar thing. It's like support these farmers so that they can continue to do their work, because it's an essential service, and that's where I feel like the government does need to be involved and so financially support them, just to the point where they're not like, well, I don't know, in a good way. They're freaking essential.
They're not asking for the world. They're just asking for a fair price for their product. And I think what I'm hearing from you, Alyssa, is you haven't quite, just like me, sussed through all the particulars and the loopholes and the details. But at the end of the day, we support the farmers because they know what they're talking about. They are the ones that work the land. They are the ones producing the food that's going into everybody else's mouth. So we should be listening to the words that are coming out of theirs. And so that's sort of where we're at.
They deserve to have a comfortable lifestyle. They're out there in the field, sweating it out.
Yeah.
If anything, they deserve to be really like, you know, it's like, what are they scared of? They're gonna get so into these loopholes that they're gonna be like making fortunes, and if they did, I'm fine with that.
That's right. So,
as long as, I don't know, it's not being taken away from poor people. But anyway, sorry, we need to log off.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. I think we sort of, at least we've got some more information here. Alyssa's, a little bit further behind than I am, but that's all right. We're catching up together here, guys. So if you enjoyed checking this sort of stuff out with us, then make sure to click that subscribe button. Click the little bell icon, choose all from the drop-down menu so you can get updated every time we upload a new video.
If you enjoyed this video, please let us know by clicking the thumbs up button and leave a comment down below. Tell us what you think. And those of you who want to leave some links after your comment,
we'll do our best to check out as much as we can.
Let us know.
This is Internet Rabbit Hole Daily. IRH signing off.
Bye, guys.